Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to week number 2 dose of the NFL football season. I am your host, Chol Souders, and we're here for PhillySportsWave.com. Rick Starfish is not available this week with so much going on, U.S. Open, big MMA card over the weekend, and, of course, baseball leading into the playoff season. Rick has pretty much been from the early morning until midnight, 1 a.m. every single day, focusing in on other sports. So he asked that I kind of cover this on my own. I've also been quite busy this week getting ready for the U.S. Open. Fingers crossed that John Rahm pulls this out for me. And JB has kind of been MIA. I know he moved recently, so he's been really busy. He's going to be contributing to the article. My apologies for the delay this week, but as you can see, busy time of year. We're not used to having all these sports at one time. So, it's a blessing, and it also is very, very, very difficult. But for this episode, I'm pretty much going to really quick just speed through. I'm not going to obviously have any conversation. Might get a call in or two, depending if they can call in. I did put a request in for Rick to reach out with some top plays. Also, touch base with our homeboy, the fantasy chef, a.k.a. Jay Blizzy, a.k.a. the natural Blizzaster. He hooked us up with a couple top plays. One of them already has played, and then a couple of players to avoid, which I think we really need to start focusing on as well. Recap of week 1. It was hit or miss. I mean, we had some big-time successes with, plays like running back Josh Jacobs, 3 touchdowns. Every single one of us called that, as did most of the industry. That's why his ownership was up there. But he was a player that if you didn't have him, you were really, really screwed. But we also had some misses. I mean, I personally thought Chris Thompson was a great low-cost play. And, I mean, I don't even know how many snaps the guy actually saw. They leaned a lot heavier on James Robinson than I thought that they were going to. Clearly, that running back job is his job. I don't even think they're going to look to bring in Devontae Freeman as they were talking about a couple of weeks ago. Latest I'm hearing about Freeman is it's the Birds that are going to be all in, trying to bring him in to just have that protection if, Miles Sanders, like heaven forbid, but if Miles Sanders goes down, we're in a little pickle here in Philly. But yeah, week 1 is always difficult. This season, without any preseason, it was extremely difficult. Players like OBJ didn't do shit compared to what we thought that he was going to do. Week 2 was a little more like the performance that we thought, which would have been, perfect for the money that you're paying. But, week 1, he really didn't do it for us. Cam Newton was a extremely good play at his cost and his usage rate. We were able to really benefit from having him. There were a couple lineups that we threw in that went with Kyler Murray and D-Hop as a stack. That's something that we're going to be continuously looking at for the rest of the year. Guys like Juju Smith-Schuster stepped it up for us. I know Rick Starfish was really, really high on James Conner in the Pittsburgh offense. Conner, man, we love him. Cancer survivor. He's somebody that you want to pull for, but the guy just always gets hurt. And better Rick than me to put his put his name next to James Conner as a recommended play, but Conner going down really messed up a lot of Rick's lineups there. But we were able to benefit from the Juju stacks with Big Ben, who looks like he's recovered and ready to go. So that's actually where I'm going to kick off this week's top plays and don't plays at the quarterback position for week 2. Big Ben Roethlisberger. He's back. I don't know if he's exactly 100% full health, but the dude was out there. He was running. He was looking at his number 1 guy, Juju. Juju's going back to what he was 2 years ago. This Pittsburgh offense looks like it's going to be able to do a lot more than it did last year. And if you can do anything on the offensive side of the football, I think Pittsburgh might be able to make a nice run this year, possibly get into a Super Bowl. Their defense is going to be tight. They're going to do what they have to do. Everyone knows that. It's one of the top defenses in the league. But Big Ben stepping it up, being able to give them consistency at that quarterback position this year and be able to keep that defense off the field is going to be huge. He seems to have that chemistry with Juju. I'm expecting another big week from Smith-Schuster, who's another guy that, like, he just seems like a genuinely great guy and somebody that we're going to be rooting for the rest of his career. I don't know if you guys have seen the video of him, just in a normal day buying lunch for a homeless man. And, he doesn't want that to be out there. He doesn't want people to see the good deeds that he does, but he does them. And that's the type of guy that you want to succeed for your fantasy teams. And I'm a little disappointed after seeing week one that I didn't put him on any of my season-long rosters. I think he's going to have a monster year. And, knock on wood, if Ben can stay healthy, Ben's somebody that we're going to look at for season-long as well. I've seen him as a top pickup for many players. I know the Fantasy Chef in one of our at-home leagues was able to pick him up. And, if you have a question mark at the quarterback position for season-long, I would pick him up now because he's not going to be available in the free agent pool for much longer. So Big Ben, definitely liking him against this Denver Broncos defense. I expect Pittsburgh to put up a good amount of points this week. It's always looked at as a bare knuckle defensive battle every time Denver faces off against Pittsburgh. But, this coolness is in the air. The fall season is here, and football season is here. Big Ben season is here. Lock them and load them. Top plays, you guys don't need me to tell you. Lamar's the dude. He is that dude. Lamar Jackson facing Houston. He's going to put up points on the ground, in the air. Stack them up with your tight end Andrews. Stack them up with multiple receivers. Look at the rookie running back in Dobbins. We're loving this Baltimore offense. They're 7-point favorites. Lamar's got the key to this vehicle, and he is going to rock and roll. Russell Wilson isn't going to be in many of the contests because he is Sunday Night Football, but when you get Russ in prime time, you know that that's somebody that you want to play. I feel like he steps it up when he faces some of the better coaches in the league as well. Bill Belichick came out this week and said he thinks Russ is the top player in the NFL. It's kind of hard to argue that. Some of the young guys like Patty Mahomes and Lamar definitely in the mix, but over the course of the years, Russ is always doing it. Now, are receivers going to be able to step up? That's always a question. Good thing about Russ is he is dual threat. He can get the points for you on the ground as well as through the air. He's a fine individual, and we expect him to do rather well on our lineups this week. And if you want to look at some long shots, I'm loving Teddy Bridgewater this week. He's going to be playing from behind against this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team. Brady's going to come out to prove some of his critics wrong, to prove Bruce Arians wrong, and to show that he is still the GOAT. So I expect Teddy to 100% have to be putting the ball in the air. And when you have targets like CMC and Robbie Anderson, my Temple Al, and more, DJ, you're going to have places to throw the ball. Now, can Teddy read the defense? That's always kind of a question. If he has to tuck it and run, though, again, dual threat. You get those points on the ground. That makes a huge difference for you. Teddy Bridgewater is my low-cost play. Lock it up. Put him in lineups. Don't overdo it. Don't put him in every lineup. We tell you that these are sleeper picks for a reason. These are the guys that are going to cost you a minimum amount of money so that you can put somebody like Christian McCaffrey in your lineup. You're going to be able to thrive if you stack somebody at the cost of Teddy Bridgewater on DraftKings with the highest priced guy in Christian McCaffrey and a rather low costing Robbie Anderson. The jury's still out on Robbie, though. We don't know how much he's going to be targeted in this offense. He is not the number one receiver. He is not the number two receiver, as far as I'm concerned. But he's going to see some plays. He's going to put some numbers on the board. And hopefully he's going to get in the end zone because we all know you're able to pull in those 6 points. It's a hell of a lot easier than getting 60 yards. About 10% of my lineups, I'm going to roll that dice with Carson Wentz again. Now, you can hear it in my voice. I really don't know what the hell to do. I don't know what to expect from Carson. I don't know if the guy's going to be alive at the end of this game. He snapped the ball, and he had skins right in front of him. I'm talking about the Washington Redskins, or the football team, as other people like to call them. But, we'll talk about that when there's somebody else here. Washington seriously was all over Carson last week. The guy couldn't move. But because of that, he's going to be so low owned. If Doug Pederson can design some plays that have him rolling out, have him in different formations, able to elude this pass rush, able to keep Donald away from him, Carson can be that difference maker for you in winning some big-time money. Nobody in their right mind is going to play the guy. But as you can see from last week, if he reads the defense right and he gets just a little bit of time, the guy can play at an MVP level like he did back in 2017. You can get multi-touchdowns. I don't know if that's going to happen. I'm praying to the gods that it will happen. But you're seriously taking a very, very difficult play here. And I have no confidence at all in playing him against the Rams. Aaron Donald and the secondary, I don't know what to expect. I don't know how Carson's going to do it. But maybe part of it's me being a Birds fan. Maybe part of it is seeing the positives when he was rolling out and hitting Goddard. Or Ertz. Or that bomb to Rager. But he's not going to have the time. You have to have plays designed. And that is where I think JB was a little bit ahead of us last week, where I know for a fact that he put a nice amount of money on this money line for the Redskins. And he won a nice amount of money on that money line for the Redskins because Carson had no time, and Carson had no plays that were designed to get the ball out of his hands fast. He needs to be able to do that. And Dougie P needs to get his fucking thumb out of his ass and step up, call the right plays, save our quarterback, save the team, and give us something to be happy about instead of being angry. I digress. Running back. Who you like, who you got? Now, you guys know the top guys are always, you need to put one in your lineup. You need to hit the top play. Now, out of all the top plays, Christian McCaffrey is going to get his touches. Matty Rule knows who butters his bread, and that's CMC. So he's in locked and loaded, various lineups. I might play him in 50% of my lineups this week. But my other top big name, big cost guy is Derrick Henry. I mean, they're playing the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jacksonville's not good on defense. They were great on defense, actually, until they decided to gut their entire team and trade their best players on the defensive side of the football over the last few seasons. They allowed 5 yards per carry last week in week 1. Now they're facing a Tennessee team that offense basically runs through the running back. It's old school football when you're looking at Tennessee. It's give the ball to your horse and let him go. Derrick Henry, that's my dude. Lock him up. He's putting on some Showtime this weekend. Clyde. Now, let's not jump the gun, man, but Clyde looked pretty in week one. It was so long ago, that Thursday night opener, and everyone's jaws were whoop, to the floor, looking at our man, the rookie running back from LSU, Big Clyde. Now, everybody has to take a deep breath, take a few steps back. The guy's not going to be a monster every week. Honestly, 30 times having the ball, I don't know if we can expect that. He has the youth on his side, but I think everybody's jumping the gun a little bit too much on our boy here. I still like him. Do I love him? I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't think we can expect 2 touchdowns. I expect at least 1. But I guess theoretically what we want is we want them to use their running game at the beginning of this season. And I think that that is what the game plan is for Andy in Kansas City. I think Andy Reid is trying to set up long-term the passing attack by showing teams this is what we can do with the football on the ground. He's taking what coaches like to do in a one-game situation, and he's putting it out through the season. Weeks 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, you're going to see a lot of running plays. Why? So Patty Mahomes can step it up and he can get those numbers that we've seen, these MVP type of numbers, because the running game is setting up the passing game. And when you have the best quarterback in the game right now, the Super Bowl winner that only has been in the NFL for a couple of years, you have the old-time coach, the man that took the Eagles to so many NFC championship games, never was able to get that prize at the end of the year with the Birds, but he was able to get it with Kansas City, and that was before they had the talent that they have right now. The talent is there. This week in particular, they're going to run the football. They're going to pass it to Clyde out of the backfield, because ultimately at the end of the season, you're going to see those huge numbers next to Pat Mahomes, next to Travis Kelce, next to Tyreek Hill, and next to Clyde. This offense is a goddamn juggernaut. Clyde is going to be a main cog in this game plan, and they're going to try to set it up right now. I can't guarantee you multiple touchdowns. I can guarantee you 1 touchdown and numbers and usage. They're going to protect their quarterback by handing the ball off and not overusing them right now. Nobody's in shape after the preseason. Let them ride the young guy. Clyde is going to get his. Most start. Last week, I threw it in on my updates, and to everybody who might be a first-time listener, check out this article that we're going to be posting on Sunday around noontime. I do my updates within the article. I put it in bold print. You can see the changes that I've made. Any last second not playing, any last second changes to an offensive game plan, maybe a late injury to the quarterback or somebody. Maybe there's just an injury on the defensive side of the football that's going to affect the offense. I will put my updates and our suggested plays in there every Sunday Sunday morning so that you can thrive in the afternoon. The most part, there's no Kittle. Lean on the run a lot more. They're going to be attacking. Raheem is the guy in that offense, in my opinion, when you're looking at the run. The passing game, I really don't know what to tell you with the 49ers. They brought in many of wide receivers to do an audition. I still like my boy Bourne, but I don't know who we can really lean on other than these running backs. Now, that will be running the ball and catching the ball out of the backfield. I think more so catching out of the backfield. But most start, if you can if you can get Christian McCaffrey in your lineup by playing Raheem, do it. Line it up. That's going to help you out. Another semi-low-cost play, the top pickup this week in free agency was Nyheim Hines. I know that the Indianapolis running game isn't something that makes you just jump up and go nuts. but Marlon Mack is out for the year. Got to drink some of this Haterade. Hold on one second. He's so good. So Nyheim Hines is going to be that guy for a couple of weeks. Now, in the long run, I still like the rookie. I don't think this is going to be Hines' show. I think you might see like a 60-40 split. But over the course of the first few weeks, they're going to stick with the guy that knows the offense and has been there for a while. And Hines is going to put up some numbers. In full season, if he was still out there, I hope you didn't spend too much to pick him up. I saw some people spending over half of their free agency budget to pick up this one player in week one. That's a little insane. Got to take a chill pill there. But Hines, I think, is a very nice play this week. Kind of sticking with that same notion, if you're looking at these rookie running backs, Swift, my man DeAndre Swift, Philly boy, they're going to keep the ball in his hands. They're going to try to keep the ball out of Aaron Rodgers' hands this week. You've seen what he did. He has to prove himself to not only himself, but to all the critics. All of a sudden looking, Aaron Rodgers is ready to retire. Aaron Rodgers is done. Aaron Rodgers, blah, 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 blah. Telling you right now, Aaron Rodgers is one of the top players in the NFL still. He is one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL still. And the guy is going to perform when the football's in his hands. So if you're a Lion, what are you looking to do? You're looking to keep the football out of Aaron Rodgers' hands. And by doing that, you run the ball. It'll have the clock continuously running. You'll be able to make the game a quicker game. You'll be able to keep the ball on your offense, keep your defense off the field so they can get a break. Now, DeAndre Swift has some critics that he needs to prove wrong as well. He dropped that wide open game-winning touchdown last week. It was right there. And DeAndre, man, my heart hurts for you, kid. Philly's boy, St. Joe's prep. Dude's a stallion. But it was his first game. He had the chance to get a game-winning touchdown in his first game in the NFL, and he dropped it. Now, I was a little surprised that Adrian Peterson got as many carries as he did last week. I think you're going to continue to see a 60-40, a 50-50 split. Like I said last week, Swift never saw more than 15 total touches in a game while he was at Georgia. Going back to his high school days, high school football is a little bit different. He did have some really, really high usage games like everybody else. He's the top player in the country. But he's really not used to it. And the NFL is a whole different monster. So I think they're going to continue leaning on AP to kind of help Swift with the transition. I don't know if Peterson still has it in him to perform at the way that he was even last year, but the guy is shredded. The guy's in great physical shape, kind of like myself, I like to say. But, Swift can still break one or two. I can't see Peterson breaking that run. So if I need to choose between the two, I think I'm still going to go with Swift on my daily fantasy. So my DFS lineups will have a good amount. I'm going to say probably about 30% of my lineups will have DeAndre in it. AP I might sprinkle in and out, but I'm not going to lean too heavily on the guy. The other rookie from Baltimore, J.K. Dobbins. Now, he was a lot bigger part of this offense than I thought he was going to be. And I've heard good things like leading up to week one out of Ravens camp saying that he's been impressive picking up on the offensive playbook as quickly as he did. Everything runs through Lamar, but when you're able to put a talent like Dobbins right next to him, you can see some fireworks. This guy, he seemed like a decent pass blocker, which was is going to be a big thing. If he can, lay some smack down on these passing blocks, so keep Mark Ingram off the field, he's going to see an uptick in his tonnage on the field and an uptick on his possessions. I mean, the guy is going to be asked to do a lot. And at such a young age, I don't know if he'll be able to handle it. But I can tell you, week 1 was very impressive. Multi-touchdowns, and, he looked like he transitioned to the NFL a lot easier than most running backs do. Running back is typically the easiest position to move from college to the NFL. There's nowhere near quarterback or corner or linebacker or any of these top-notch positions, but Dobbins didn't miss a beat. The guy thrived in week 1. I expect him again to thrive, but it is still a roll of the dice. I mean, there's only so many footballs to go around, and when you have the plethora of weapons that Lamar has, somebody's going to each week not get as many, and the jury's still out on Dobbins. I don't know what to expect. And I think that pretty much covers all the running backs. So running back in total, top plays, Christian McCaffrey and Henry. Mid-tier guys, we're looking at Mostert, Hines, and Swift. Oh, yeah, and Clyde the Glide is still one of the guys that we're looking to pencil into a good amount of our lineups. Now, I'm going to have to speed this up a little bit. Definitely talking a little bit too much to condense this into a 20 to 25 minute. So I'm going to real quick go through these wide receivers. As we said earlier, we're liking D-Hop this week. Now, I don't know if the running game's really going to be prevalent for Arizona, but when you have somebody like DeAndre Hopkins and you have somebody that looks to make it so easy, as Hopkins does, I think we can expect this week in and week out. Now the numbers, the targets are going to remain consistent. I think he's going to be over 10 targets every single week. I don't think he's going to be dropping many balls either. I think he is the dude for Arizona now. I don't know if you guys saw the post game in the locker room where Cliff gave the game ball to D-Hop. And just the expression of joy and the look on his face says it all. The guy is happy to be in Arizona. He's thrilled to be away from Houston. He loves his teammates. He loves his coach. He put up numbers last year and the years before in Houston consistently. Now that he has that want to be there, the want to succeed, he is going to show off a little bit. We might be looking at the best receiver in football for this season. Mix that in with Mike Thomas being down, and I think there's a new king coming for that crown. I think this is D-Hop's year. With that, I think Kyler Murray is going to be like, hey, there's a new sheriff in town, and right here, it's me, Kyler. Kyler, D-Hop, stack them. You're going to get double those points. If you're looking to play, again, the Sunday night game, it's not in a lot of the contests, but it's kind of hard not to pencil in Julian Edelman. He looks to have a really, really good rapport so far with Cam Newton. PPR in your PPR seasonal leagues or any of these DFS matchups, somebody like Edelman is somebody that you want. The guy gets targets. He gets those little slant patterns, and then they ask him to make something out of it. Will he break one? I don't know. This Seattle defense, in my opinion, isn't as good as it used to be. I think by their name, people see Seattle and they get scared and they don't want to go up against them and they don't want to pay that money. Well, this just in, Julian Edelman doesn't cost that much money. He is facing Seattle where people are going to be scared. Use him. His ownership's going to be below 10%. His ownership's probably going to be below 5%. You can make money by playing guys that cost less money. That is the key to this game. That is how you turn a profit. Don't enter everything into these millionaire makers. Enter into the smaller contests. Join a $5, 100 person contest. You know what? That $5 might turn into $15. It doesn't sound like much, but guess what? You just bought yourself a lunch. Oh, well, I don't know. I'd much rather take the claim to fame that I beat 100,000 people. Yeah, so would I. But guess how many people actually do win those millionaire makers? One. If you look at the total payouts, you'll look at the total amount that gets brought in compared to the amount that gets paid out. It's not that much money. Your chances are not going to be great if you don't win first place. The big number, the millionaire, the $1 million, this is what you can take home. That's what gets you guys going. But what is second? What is third? What is fourth win? Look at the drop-offs. Enter the lower contest. Bring in a profit. Back to wide receivers. My boy Juju, he stepped up week 1. I love him again week 2. Play the homie. If you're looking for contests that are outside of the typical slates like the Millionaire Maker, bring in some Monday Night Football. Again, look at those Las Vegas Raiders. It's the first game in Vegas ever. It's Monday Night Football. Tell me that doesn't sound like the perfect cocktail. I'm going with my man, Henry Ruggs. You might see his name every week. Everyone knows that I love this guy. Henry Ruggs is going to be penciled in probably about 40, 50% of my lineups in one of my wide receiver spots. I might even use him as a flex. Also, look at the Eagles castaway. Look at Nelson Aguilar. We've joked about Nelson for years now. But you know what? He caught a touchdown in week 1. He might not be a starter, but he's going to get his. The guy can catch touchdowns. He was the leading receiver when the Eagles won the Super Bowl a couple of years ago. Nelson Aguilar can make some amazing plays if he holds on to the football. I'm expecting him to do just that. I'm expecting Gruden to call some plays centered around our boy, Henry Ruggs. And I'm definitely expecting him to break one at some point during this game. Now, I don't know if it's going to be a bomb down the sideline or if it's going to be something across the middle. Or it could be a reverse handoff. But they're going to put the ball in Henry Ruggs' hand because primetime players step up under the lights on Monday Night Football. And under the lights, Monday Night Football in a city like Las Vegas, woo! Bring me to that party, baby. Another receiver to look at, chemistry. Number one thing when you're talking about quarterbacks and wide receivers. Slayton impressed. Darius Slayton just seems to have that chemistry with Daniel Jones. And something like that at such a young age means so much. If the quarterback is looking downfield and his eyes are focused on the one wide receiver, you're going to get some money out of that. And Darius Slayton seems to be the guy when you're talking about Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones wants to be the man in New York. He wants to put up these numbers. And, first week was a little rough. I'm not going to lie. But week number 2, I think we're looking at a Bears defense that Jones is going to be able to show off a little bit. I think Saquon has a lot to prove going into this week after last week and the abysmal performance that he had. But I expect Slayton to possibly get 10 receptions in this game and definitely put up some big yardage numbers. Kind of on the same page with that is Reagor. Jalen Reagor, if Carson Wentz had some time, it was impressive, that 50-yard reception that he had last week. Now, just like I said during the quarterback section, Carson Wentz isn't going to have a lot of time. Good news is he has Lane Johnson back. They made some moves on their offensive line in the past week. The opportunities are going to be there. Can they take advantage of them? Can they keep Carson on his feet? because I'm liking Rieger and I'm liking Djax again. Now, just like I said during the Carson Wentz segment, you're going to see not a lot of people playing the Eagles offensively this week. Carson was on his back a lot in week 1. So week 2, they need to design plays that are going to make Carson roll away from Aaron Donald. They need to have some quick slants. They need to have some screen passes. They need wide receiver screens. They need to have some quick outs. They need to have plays designed specifically for Carson to get the ball into Rieger and Djax's hands before this rush gets to him. It's all about play calling. If Doug Pederson can do it, you're going to get some monster return on your investment when you stack Carson Wentz with Rieger and Djax. I specifically, in my Millionaire Maker lineup, I have Carson Wentz in one with Rieger, with Miles Sanders. And I'm flirting with the idea of going all in and throwing in a tight end, either Goddard or Ertz on that. But you're looking to, if you're going to win something big like a Millionaire Maker, you need to have a stack that is very low owned. And after last week's horrible, horrendous, pathetic, poopy performance, I said it, poopy. This guy, he's going to have to step it up. And Carson Wentz is going to have to lean on these speedy receivers that they have. Djax, Rieger, get it. And my last suggestion, the whole team at Philly SportsWave, we like Allen Robinson. You know, all this talk this week about getting rid of him, trading him away. The Eagles in particular, a lot of people talking about sending Robinson to the Birds for some draft picks. You know, he wants his money. And he's facing the Giants, who aren't that good in the defensive secondary. Big Mitch Trubisky, badge of honor, biggest comeback NFL history. Fourth quarter was freaking incredible. Mitch is going to come out a little more relaxed, and he's going to be focusing on his number one contact. Allen Robinson is going to have a day for himself. As long as he doesn't get a little messed up in his head and possibly, who knows, mouth off to the coach. Flip out about his numbers and not being targeted enough. Who knows? I don't know if Robinson's that type of guy, but wide receivers are all kind of that type of guy. They all have that ego. Allen Robinson wants to get his. He wants to get his money. He wants that briefcase of cash, and he wants to be like, voila. Prove that you're the man. Prove that you deserve this money, and they will give it to you. This week, he's have to prove himself against this New York Giants defense, which kind of sucks. All right, we're going to move on real quick to the tight end. And Mark Andrews, the dude is a friggin' beast. Pop it and lock it. He's playing against the Houston Texans. They struggle against the tight end. Perfect spot for Andrews to be that dude. Kittle's out. Kelsey's still going to put up some monster numbers. If you're asking me, Andrews is my top play of the week. O.J. Howard, the guy is a gun, man. He is going to get a lot more targets than people thought. Originally, everyone thought that Gronk was going to be the touchdown vulture. O.J. and Brait were going to be on the field for the entire drive, and then Gronk was going to come in with Gronk and score a quick touchdown when they're in the red zone. Guess what? Gronk played close to 80% of the total snaps last week for Tampa. Didn't get in the end zone. O.J. Howard did. O.J. Howard is going to be a lot bigger part of this offense than people first thought. And with Godwin possibly not playing because of injury, and with Mike Evans still not 100%, still recovering after being doubtful last week, and I don't know if we're going to see Gronk be as big of a cog as everyone thought he was going to be. I think this is the O.J. Howard breakout year that everybody's been waiting for. Holla if you hear me. Now, in Philly, what are you going to do? Goddard or Ertz? Goddard or Ertz? That's right. You play them both. Put one in the flex. They're going to score. One of them's going to score. One of them's going to put up monster yardage. Maybe both of them do. Bottom line is Carson doesn't have a lot of time to get this ball out. They're going to be rushing. They're going to be sending the house. They're going to have Aaron Donald in Carson Wentz's face. But Goddard and Ertz are going to be his quick get-out-of-jail-free card. They're big targets, especially our boy Dallas Goedert. Carson's going to look at the middle of the field. Boom. Real quick. Boom. And these guys can make those quick double moves. They are athletic. They're not your typical, run blocking, pass blocking tight end. Both Ertz and Goddard are top-notch receivers, and they can help out with the blocking schemes. I'm not going to go all in on both for every lineup. I'll have some with just Ertz, some with just Goddard, and I will put both of them in with some flex appeal. But I think overall, if you're looking to differentiate yourself, playing both of the tight ends with a Carson mini stack, sign me up. That might be a good possibility. Again, looking at costs, that's the only reason that you would do this. Goddard's cost, his price is going to go up over the next few weeks. Once people start seeing how big of a part of this offense Goddard is, it's going to be difficult to fit a couple of these birds in there at the reasonable cost. Noah Fant, the guy is a monster. He is going to be the tight end breakout of the year. You heard it here last week. You're going to continue to hear this the rest of the year. Fant, however the hell you pronounce it. I mean, they're going against the Pittsburgh defense, one of the top defenses in the league. Young quarterbacks always rely on their tight end up the middle. This is going to be no different. Give the playboy the ball. He will perform. And we're going to close it out now with defense. Defense, who knows what the hell is going on this year? I know this. I know Miami is not that freaking good. I know the Jets are not that freaking good. That's how Tom Brady was able to win so many goddamn divisions over the course of his career. He had Miami and the Jets. Granted, the Jets were decent back then, but, whatever. Buffalo, one of the top defenses in football, facing Miami. Sign me up. Let's do it. San Francisco, one of the top 5 defenses in the league, facing the Jets. What else do I have to say? They're facing the Jets, and they have no Le'Veon Bell. So you're taking the top player. That was the chair. I didn't just fart. I promise. They're taking the top player off the Jets, and he's not available because he's on IR now. So you mean to tell me you have the San Francisco 49ers, one of the top, in my opinion, 2 defenses in football, and you have them facing the Jets without Le'Veon Bell and a fairly young quarterback still, and the coach who might be the dumbest motherfucker I've ever seen in my life. San Francisco 49ers, do it. So they're the picks for the week. I will tell you this, the fantasy chef did call in some. He said, well, it already happened now. He said, look for Boyd to perform on Thursday night and look for Scotty Miller to perform also. So Boyd got a touchdown at the end of the game. Good job by the chef there showing off. Miller, he said he's expecting 8 to 10 targets with the next man up, stepping up with Godwin hurt. Who knows what's going on with Evans. 8 to 10 targets is Husky in my opinion. I don't know if they're going to be able to do that. There's only so many footballs to go around. I mean, look at their offensive roster. It's pretty killer. He says to avoid Benny Snell because he doesn't know what's going on with the Pittsburgh running game. He said they're going to lean heavily on the passing attack, which I agree. And he said to avoid Tom Brady. Now, I differ in this opinion. He said Brady's not somebody to look at. I'll tell you what. Nothing's better than Brady with a little bit of edge, a little bit of chip on his shoulder. I think this is a game where Tom uses those weapons and he steps up, but the fantasy chef said no, avoid using Tom Brady. So take it for what you will. We're not always on the same page. Just because we're here working for the same company doesn't mean that all of us have the same opinion. That's why I typically like having these conversations and these calls and these podcasts with various people, whether it be Rick Starfish, Fantasy Chef, JB, Joey G. We have a whole team over here that we like to have the conversations. And I apologize for having just me and my ugly mug for you to look at. But hopefully I was able to give you guys some really quick hits. I didn't go too deep into the numbers game because, quite frankly, when you're talking numbers with yourself, it's not really fun or entertaining. But I promise you next week you're going to have at least one, maybe two, maybe three, maybe we'll have a whole goddamn party. But until then, I'll keep getting older. You stay the same age. All right. Check you later.